Good afternoon, family. Thank you for checking out my video today. It is March 31st, 2022. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of achieving a healthy weight. Carrie's checking in saying hello. Hello, Carrie. I got a little bit of a late start this morning, had a phone call right at the end of the day. If you do enjoy my videos, make sure that you get subscribed to the channel. Also, make sure that you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate in on those live discussions, you can join me at 4 p.m. most weekdays, or outside of my live stream, consider joining our Discord. There is a link for that down in the description below that will be active for 1 week. Also, if you're interested in getting some ideas of the meals that we enjoy, we have a link to a Pinterest board down below, and that has some of the meals that our family really likes, whole food plant-based meals that we like. Today is day 516 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 210 pounds. I'm 17 months in. I got 19 months to go. I'm really excited to get to my goal by the end of 2022 so that I can maintain my weight through 2023 and hopefully for the rest of my life. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. I'd love to hear how you're doing on your diets. What are you doing to stay on track? If you've fallen off track, what are you doing to get back on track? What's keeping you from getting started with your weight loss? And, what things are you doing to make eating healthy easier than the alternative? Let's switch over to my main page. I'm running late. I don't know if Carrie is expecting me home early or not tonight. She's going to have to tell me in the chat, but I got started about 15 minutes late because I had a phone call come in. I hope everybody had a great evening last night. I had a wonderful evening. I had a wonderful eating. Yes, I had a wonderful evening eating all kinds of food. Carrie is expecting me back home, so I'm going to have to talk very quickly so I can get through everything I wanted to talk about today. Um, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull up a picture of dinner from last night. I ate so much of this. It was noodles with lentils, and I can't remember. Carrie said the name of it yesterday on stream, but I can't remember the name of it right now. But I had, let's see, I had this whole plate I'm about to show you. Um, ah, So this whole plate of this last night, if it pops up, there we go. Lentil tahini pasta. I also think I had a bowl or maybe two as well as this. I ate a lot of this last night because I had been fasting and I was hungry and I just felt like eating last night and it was amazing. It was so good. Um, and let's see. So that was one of the things I had last night. And then I think I had Ezekiel bread. I was gonna ask, did you pick up peanut butter when you went shopping today? I don't know if you did or not. But I had Ezekiel bread, and Carrie went to Costco last night, so I had a little bit of mango. Even though I wasn't sure about getting mango or not, I decided, what the heck, why not? And some cashews. Then this morning we had our oatmeal, kind of different oatmeal. We've been having a spinach oatmeal, is what I guess you would call it. It just really, it's the same amount of oats as we always had before. Just it's not sweet. It's got like I said, lots of spinach in it. It's very creamy, and we put some lemon juice in it as well to kind of add some flavor. Carrie uses almond milk as the base as opposed to apple juice like we used to use with our old oatmeal that we were having for a while. So that was a good breakfast this morning. And really, I gained a couple pounds on the scale, but nothing that isn't surprising. And I am really hoping that with having that small loss this week, that I'll see a big loss next week, but we'll see how it goes. Let me think. Other than that, that was kind of most of the diet stuff that I was going to talk about. I titled this chat today "Volume Eaters Unite" because I talk about calorie density all the time, and uh it's really something that I think that, finding out the importance of calorie density has been what has helped me the most with this diet. And when I look back at my history with losing weight, all of the times I've ever lost weight, it's been by doing super restrictive diets or super low calorie, barely eating anything diets. And they always crash and burn by the end. And I just binge and just hate the diet that I was on by the time I get done with the diet. This diet's been completely different. I get to go home, eat a plate full of lentil tahini pasta and have cashews and mango and go to bed satisfied, wake up, eat a big bowl of oatmeal. And while doing that, I still am able to lose weight in the end. So that calorie density and that volume eating has really been the biggest turnaround for me as far as my mentality and what has helped me succeed with this diet. Now, saying all that, uh, today there was a post on Facebook that somebody that Carrie follows had put up that had made her frustrated enough that she decided to share that frustration with me. And then after I read the post, I got really annoyed too. And so it made me decide to talk about what I'm going to talk about tonight. Let's see. Carrie says marinated mushrooms, mashed potatoes, and artichoke tonight. All right, guys, I'm out of here because that sounds pretty good. The marinated mushrooms, mashed potatoes sound amazing. The artichoke, if it's made right, I guess I don't know. We've had artichoke a little bit, but not much. So that should be good. So, anyways, I'm gonna try to run through this as fast as I can here today. I'm gonna bring this back up. So this is the post that triggered us, and it's a very long post here. So it's actually 3 pages long here. But what it is the person is saying that they're getting hit up by their clients. This is somebody who does workouts, and they are let's see. Gamercraft says, my biggest non-scale victory is your blood pressure and heart rate. You've had a resting heart rate of 105 and resting blood pressure of 150/95. Now, after losing 60 pounds, your heart rate's down to 75. Your blood pressure's at 125/75. You no longer need meds. Guess that's the greatest non-scale victory that anybody's ever posted on this channel so far. So you're number one. That's awesome. So 60-pound weight loss is amazing. Yeah, that resting heart rate is a wild thing. If you go back and look at my early videos, I'm gonna pull this down because um my early videos, I went right before I started this challenge. I got this Garmin watch that is here, and it tells me what my heart rate is, just my resting heart rate and what my heart rate is when I move around. And that was a big surprise to me at how high my resting heart rate was. And I talk about it a lot more, like I said, the first few months of this, because it was such a noticeable thing that was going on that my heart rate was spiking so much. And my resting heart rate was up high, but then like if I did anything, like walked from my bedroom up the flight of steps, my heart rate skyrocketed. It was amazing. So that's awesome. Uh Non-scale victories. I'm really excited for you. And I'm hoping that you're doing great on everything else. So back to the post that, what really grinds my gears, right? All right. So it what's funny is I got this thing cropped. So you can't see everything that do on the fly edits here. Oh no. That's there. And then we gotta add a little bit to the bottom. Sorry. All right, I should have checked this before, but I got rushed right before the stream here. So this person says they always get clients that says that they need more healthy ideas to stay on track. You ate the salads and the low carb meals for weeks and you lost weight. You start, and after you lose the weight, you start going out a few times a week. You're feeling sexy and you fit into your clothes. And so while you're out, you enjoy tacos and margaritas, then burgers and beer, and you let all the crap food come back in, and you're going out more and more often than you were when you were losing weight. You're eating fewer salads and more indulgent meals. The weight starts to creep on, and before you know it, you're back up 10 pounds. Here's where you start asking the trainer for healthy meals. And, the idea, if you just had more healthy meal ideas, you'd be back on track. Well, she's saying that she gets people that ask this all the time, every time she does a challenge. And the truth is that this is what she says, the quantity of the food is the problem, not the type. You are eating more than your body needs. When eaten in excess of what the body needs, a healthy meal can still lead to weight regain. Here's one thing to try. Eat the food you love, healthy foods, indulgent foods, salads, but eat within your maintenance calorie intake or slightly below. This will lead to satisfaction without feeling deprived of foods, and of foods you love and keep you healthy and fit. What is your maintenance calorie intake? It varies per person. So that's just them trying to sell more of their services. This is awful advice. If this worked, everybody in the world would be skinny. It's so easy. Just eat less. End of stream. I'm done. Right? If it was that easy, and she says the thing that gets me, that will lead to satisfaction. So getting to eat this junk food leads to satisfaction without feeling deprived of foods. You don't maybe feel deprived of the fact that you don't get to have that whatever chimichanga that you want to have, but you can only eat a third of that chimichanga. So then you feel deprived in that you don't get to have a full belly, And so this advice drives me nuts. And it's not just this person, that gives this advice. There's all kinds of people out there giving this advice. And you guys, it's all about the myth of moderate consumption. And I talk about these myths of moderation all the time, but you really have to understand how important that volume eating is to our natural instinct and the world that we evolved in. Maybe not the world we live in, but the world that we evolved from. And, so the myth of moderation, and the quote you always hear is everything in moderation is okay. And it seems to be the best approach to a lot of things in life. We've learned throughout our lives that the idea that if we focus on one thing too much, we'll end up ignoring the other aspects of our life that demand our attention, and then we'll have negative outcomes in those areas that we are ignoring. And that's great outside of diet, And so the two myths, the myth of moderate consumption, the one I'm going to hound on today for a little bit, is that, the idea that any lifestyle habit is acceptable provided that you practice it in moderation. I can have some of that lemon cream pie as long as I only eat half of it or a third of it, or I take a tiny slice of it. And then the other myth is the myth of moderate change. And that's the idea that starting with moderate change and slowly building will lead to greater success. So in regards to the myth of moderate consumption, what this person is telling you is just eat less of the foods you love. And like I said, it makes sense because in all of our other life all of the other aspects of our life, that really is true. In that we've learned through our experiences that moderation is the best way. If we focus on one thing too much, like if you're working too much, then your family suffers, or things like that, And so, but and outside of diet, extreme positions are often wrong, or they, you know, they aren't the best, like far right or far left political view. There's somewhere in the middle is where the best position is, and when we have this moderation, when we think of things in moderate, doing things moderately, we are doing that because we are limiting the risk that we're putting ourselves at. If you worry that if you do something too much, or if you get too into it, that you're going to alienate people, or you're going to have negative outcomes because you're putting yourself at risk. And so, as people, we're naturally resistant or suspicious to radical ideas or a call for radical change. And so, radical change, no matter what the evidence, seems wrong. If you're comfortable where you're at, the idea to radically change, or if you're only a little bit of uncomfortable, radically changing seems like it would be not the way to go. And the reason why we can't trust this natural instinct of moderation is because that isn't with our diet. We don't live in a natural world. We live in an unnatural world. And so, like, when it comes to sleep, when you get enough sleep, when you've rested enough. Or if you're thirsty and you need to drink water, when you have had enough water. But with food, we add all these unnatural stimulants to the food that are not found in the wild. And also, a lot of the food that we're eating now, a lot of the modern food that we see, had things removed from it too. In nature, it would have had fiber in it, but now it doesn't have fiber in it. Um, and we also fortify things too. We add calcium to food that doesn't have a lot of calcium in it, or we add other minerals to fortify our foods. And so they are not the food that you would find off the tree, or in the on the bushes in the wild. And what you have to understand is that with materials that do not have a natural healthy relationship with the body, that we don't find in nature, that really the appropriate level of these non-natural things is none. And that position seems extreme, but especially when you look at it and you think that even if you eat a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet and you mess up a little bit, you're only going to see minor issues. But if you only have a little bit of coffee, it's only a little bit toxic, it only increases your blood pressure a little bit, so it's only responsible for a little bit of an increased risk of stroke. Or if you have a little bit of refined flour, it creates a little bit of excess body weight that's only responsible for a little bit of an increase in all cause mortality. Just like alcohol, you add a little bit of alcohol, it kills a little bit of brain cells, and it only causes a little bit of an increase in liver disease. And we can have those things and we can survive, but it doesn't mean that everything in moderation is okay. And in order to become your optimal self, to get to your optimal health, the only way you can get to that maximum health possible for you is through having optimal behavior and doing things optimally. Any deviation from this optimal point will allow for less than optimal results. A healthy life is a direct result of healthful living. And with regard to diet, the optimal behavior has the appearance of being extreme. It looks extreme to eat the way that I eat. It sounds extreme to eat the way I eat, but it's not to me. I had a friend of mine the other day make a comment about, the joy they get, like I couldn't imagine not eating this because it gives me pleasure. And I'm like, do you not think I have an enjoyable life? I love every bit of my life. I'm happier now in my life than I was when I was eating that crap food. So to me, uh, that that pleasure that you get from that food for 15 minutes is only temporary. It's not a permanent thing. And when you are trying to fix your diet, abstinence really is going to be the most successful solution. Like how much alcohol would you recommend an alcoholic drink per week? Like it would be none. That would be your recommendation is none. Well, if somebody who's obese and wants to lose weight, how much added oil should they have in their diet? The answer is none. Shouldn't have any added oil, shouldn't have any added sugar, shouldn't have any added salt to your diet. Like the optimal amount is none. Or how many cigarettes are good for an ex-smoker? None. And if they do relapse, if somebody is an alcoholic or somebody is an ex-smoker or somebody's trying to get to a healthy weight from being severely over obese, if you do have a relapse, then the ultimate goal should be to get back to the abstinence. Like if somebody is an alcoholic and they stop drinking for a year and they have a drink, the goal is to get back to that abstinence phase that they were doing for the last year. And total abstinence, it causes us to fight our natural instincts and the cravings that we've developed for food, that these companies develop these foods to entice us to eat, the cravings that they create. You know, you're going to have to fight those withdrawals that you go through, but you only have to fight them for a short time, because once you get that out of your system, it's I don't have any desire for caffeine. I don't have any desire for meat. I don't have any desire for dairy. I don't have any desire for added sugar, because I have found what it feels like to live a life free of those things. The pleasure trap, which is where I got a lot of this from, she talks about how once you get to this state that I feel like I'm in, it's like being in a room listening to your favorite song, and the music is at the right temperature, the lights are at the right brightness, and everything is just right. Everything feels great. I don't have any cravings for anything. I don't go to bed at night thinking about what fast food restaurant I'm going to eat at the next morning. And it took time for that to happen. It took weeks for that to happen. But now that I'm past that point, I don't have those fights anymore. And when you keep some amount of unhealthy food in your diet, I'll just have one that's going to get me coffee. It's an easy one. I'll just have a little bit of coffee. I'll just have a little. You are constantly fighting yourself to keep that little bit of coffee in your diet, because you won't let go of it. And it has that hold on you, and you're afraid to go through with the withdrawals, and you're afraid to go through that moment, those moments you have to go through to get over the attachment that you have for those things. But when you make the changes for good and you find out what it feels like to be free from them, once you get all of the unnatural parts out of your diet, you'll start to understand what it's like to live the way it was intended. Harry says she feels attacked. Yes, I knew I was going to get some crap about the coffee. Yes. But um feeling good and not pain avoidance becomes the motivation for sustaining positive. I am no longer worried about my leg pains, my ankles hurting, my heart, chest pains. I'm not doing this to avoid those pains anymore. That's not why I stick to a whole food, plant based, salt, oil, sugar free diet. I'm done avoiding pain. The pain is gone. The reason why I stay on a whole food, plant based, salt, oil, sugar free diet, because it makes me feel amazing every day. I feel awesome. And I feel like this is the way I was supposed to feel every day. But we let these companies trick us into thinking that we need to have their product. We need to have X number of some micronutrient. And it's just not the way we were designed. Our bodies were designed, we evolved through millions of years from whatever creature we were before we were Homo sapiens. We evolved in a world that didn't have added salt, added sugar, added oil, and it didn't have removed fiber, removed high fructose corn syrup, like that's just one element of the sugar. There's glucose, sucrose, and fructose. And I don't know how it works, but two of those is just the separation of glucose, I believe is what it is. So, um, and so Carrie's defending her coffee drinking. It's okay. I'm just letting you know that I am happy without having coffee. And if you can find a way to have those little things in your life and still get the goals that you want to achieve, then that's great. But for me, it is so much easier to abstain from them. I know that, abstinence has this negative connotation in our society that it's like you're depriving yourself of something. But my abstinence now is giving me years on the end of my life. And if outside of dying because of an accident, my health is better now. I've already lived longer than I probably would have if I was still a 500-pound person, and it's only been a year and a half. So I do have to get out of here. I know I got a late start, but Carrie is got some big plans for tonight. Again, she's just such a busy lady about town, right? So I got to get out of here, guys. But I want to thank you for checking out my broadcast. If you did like the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live. If you haven't started your diet yet, what are you waiting for? You're just you're just kicking that can down the road, and you're just making it tougher to deal with once you decide to pick it up. So get started right now. Nobody ever gets to their goals and says, man, I wish I would have waited. Everybody says they wish they would have started sooner. Everybody does. Find me somebody who says they wish they would have waited. I would love for somebody to prove me wrong, but everybody regrets not getting started sooner. So don't let that event coming up this weekend, that celebration that you think you have to eat what is there, keep you from starting your diet. And don't fall for the myths of moderation, the myth of moderate consumption. Watch the last 30 minutes if you want to hear about that. And the myth of moderate change, the idea that you're going to slowly make the changes for good. If that's your plan, and if your plan is to make all these changes and cut out all the junk food and eat a whole food, plant-based, SOS free diet, for example, why go into it slowly and slow down your progress? If you just jump in, your progress will start right away. Anyways, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go now. I hope you guys have a good day. I'll be back on tomorrow for the Friday live stream. You guys all have a great evening.